Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
Want to double your sales without increasing your costs? You should look at why people actually buy. Okay, in this podcast, we're going to be talking about why people actually buy and reasons to get them to buy a whole lot more. And as you can understand, we're just coming out of a big lull, especially not sure what time you're listening to this podcast, but we just had 2 years of non-business activity due to the pandemic. And, as coaches, consultants, and small business owners, now is the time for us to really revamp on our sales and get people to buy a lot more so we can make up for lost time. And I know what you're thinking. You say, here we go again. Yet another promise from somebody trying to tell me how to double my business and maybe increase my cash flow and increase the amount of leads that you're receiving, etc. Or you're thinking, this is yet another half-baked scam. Or could it be that it's maybe possible to actually double, triple, even quadruple your business in the next 90 days? Well, I'm here to tell you, yes, it is very, very possible, because I can understand where you're coming from and I can understand how you feel right now. And I want you to tell you that you can literally go from 200K to 2 million within 2 years with our widely controversial system that actually breaks every rule in the marketing playbook. And I don't need you to sacrifice any of your income to do what you love. You can actually do both. So I'm going to walk you through my simple step-by-step plan and show you exactly how easy it can be to double your business in the next 90 days. And I can imagine, you're thinking right now, I'm trying to grow my business. I'm trying to get out of this economic slump. I'm trying to get out of this whole long COVID, so to speak. And, you're probably cold calling potential clients and you're having them hang up in your face simply maybe because they've moved on from the jobs that they were doing, or they've pivoted. They're no longer operating in the same way they were operating pre-COVID, and maybe you've been sending out hundreds of emails without getting as much as, hey, thank you for reaching out, because maybe that email address no longer has somebody looking after it because that person has moved on. All right. The fact of the matter is, it's not only possible for you to double your business, and I do it regularly as a digital marketing consultant with my clients. While it's not guaranteed, the techniques that we actually use are the next best thing to foolproof, and you know what I mean? And you can work, and they can work for, almost any business that actually sells services to the general public. And if your business is selling to other businesses, which is B2B, there are methods that we can use to do much of the same thing, but we'll be covering a few of those methods in this podcast today. Now, let's start with why people buy anything. Do you actually know why people make a purchase? All right. Now, if you look, there are 4 reasons why people actually make a purchase. And the first thing you notice is that most of them are emotionally driven reasons. All right. People basically buy a whole lot more based on the emotion they have about that service or the brand or the business they're purchasing from. And then they just use logic to justify that purchase. Okay, so at the end of the day, all your features and benefits and all that stuff, yes, it might help in moving the sale across, but are you taking people on a journey? Are you actually relating to the person who's making that purchase and then helping them justify that purchase just logically, obviously, with the features that they're going to be receiving? All right, if you would look at the your sales, are you telling stories? Are you actually emotionally involving people in the journey of why this is the best decision that would make in order to solve their problem? Okay, so people buy on emotion, not logic. And it doesn't really matter what you're selling. And if you're selling anything but emotion, I can guarantee that you double yourself just by making one small shift in the way you present your products to your prospects. All right, so let's look at the 4 reasons that I promised of why people buy anything. Okay, now first, they buy for reasons, to fix their health, their wealth, and their relationships. Those are the main things that people actually go out of their way to make purchases of. Okay, and you will be right if you think that they buy for reasons of love or sex. All right, that's where the relationships comes into play. And yes, sex sells, and it's a very important marketing tool. All right, if you know how to use it tactfully, you will actually have a business that's profitable and enjoyable. And then second of all, people buy because they want their dreams to come true. No matter what dreams you might have, more than anything else, you want those dreams to come true. All right, so at the end of the day, your products, your services should be encouraging people's dreams. They want their dreams to come true. So whatever you're going to do as a coach, consultant, or small business owner, position your products as a tool to actually help people live their dreams, and you'll see yourselves jump almost overnight. Okay, and the dreams that people have is to live a happier existence, to have really good relationships, to make more money, whatever their dreams are. And if you have an innate understanding of what those dreams really are, you will definitely double your sales within the next 90 days. And you never have to waste thousands of dollars on ad spend without generating any qualified leads, because you have an innate understanding of your prospects or your markets needs and what they actually want to achieve in their life. Okay, and once you do that, if you position your products as a tool to help people live their dreams, you'll see yourselves jump literally overnight. Now, the third reason that people buy is because they are looking for effortless ways to make money. Like I said earlier on, people are looking for health, relationships, and wealth. And within the health, they have whatever dreams that they might have for themselves. In relationships, we've mentioned that sex sells, and wealth is they're looking for effortless ways to make more money with less struggle. So that's pretty evident if you look at the popularity of any of the products that are sold through your news feed right now. They promise big money in exchange for easy work that anybody can do. And that's why the lure of the laptop lifestyle gets a lot of people. And that's why the lure of those Nigerian letters of you having made an inheritance and all you have to do is send $1,000 in order for you to claim that inheritance. It's easy for people to just think, wow, I can just walk into that kind of money without having done or expended much on my own self in order to acquire that money. And the final reason that people actually buy is because they're going to get either something for free or they're getting a bargain. All right. Now, do you know anybody who doesn't want to get a bargain or who won't jump at the chance of getting something for nothing? All right. So if you really look at all of these things, people would buy because they think they are winning. What's in it for me? All right. So you want to position your products to be in such a way that the customer is winning. All right. And that's why whenever we're making a sales proposition or an offer, our guarantee should make it easy for people to make a decision, all right? Because they always are looking to get something for nothing. So there you have it. Okay, there's 4 reasons why people actually buy. And you might be asking yourself, so what do you do now with all the information that you've just received? Okay, and you're selling products and services that just don't fit any of these categories. Maybe you might be thinking that, my coaching doesn't do that, or my consulting is not a bargain for people, or my training does not have any sex involved in it, or the information that I'm selling does not encourage people's dreams. Well, I call BS to that, right? Nonsense. Okay, I've yet to find a single product or service that cannot be promoted as delivering one or more of the things that actually make people buy. All right, so while I've used this technique in selling to my IT consultants, one of the most boring things, and they actually doubled their sales in less than a month. And I did it without increasing maybe any advertising spend that they were spending out there. And I've used it with real estate companies, I've used it with manufacturers of all kinds, and I've used it in retail as well, and I've even used it for an insurance consultant that we just recently signed. And in each case, the results were always the same. We increased their sales dramatically in a very short period of time. People are always looking to enhance their relationships. People are always looking to enhance their wealth. People are always looking to enhance their health. So if you can touch on any of those, and the last bit is for them to actually then get a bargain, or get something for nothing, you will definitely, win at any given time. All right. So look at the main benefit of what products or services that you're offering, and it can be used to fit any one of these 4 categories. Now, you don't even need to dig a whole lot deeper. What is it about your consulting that helps people earn more money with less struggle? All right. What is it about your training that helps people with relationships? All right. Or their mindset, or whatever it is. What is it about your information that helps people achieve their dreams? All right. You need to just constantly be looking at any, of these 4 categories in order for you to actually double your sales, because that's the reason why people buy. All right. So look at your main benefit, or your main product, or whatever service that you're offering right there. Okay. It actually can be used to fit any one of these 4 categories, and you don't even need to dig any deeper. For example, like the insurance company that I was talking about, okay, their life insurance actually helps people live their dreams by removing all the fear of losing their financial security. All right, so people can actually go out and live their happier existence because we've removed that fear of losing their financial security. Okay, so if you're really in a jam and you can't seem to fit any part of your product or services into any of these 4 categories, just try advertising something for free at a reduced price. Okay, and it's all this now become known as a bargain. All right, like I said, the last thing that people want is a bargain, and there's hardly any industry that can't work without offering people a bargain. All right. So, at any given moment, in the world that we live in right now, everywhere I turn, I'm just inundated with information about how to survive the next economic downturn. Okay. You know why? Because people are now really, really cautious, just simply based on the fact that we've just gone through 2 years of the pandemic, which has really, really taken people, or by surprise, so to speak. Okay, many of the gurus out there, they're focusing on maybe improving your customer service, so in order for you to stand out from the crowd, or maybe help sustain customer retention. I mean, I totally concur with all this advice, but this is how I believe businesses should operate anyway. You should definitely be looking out for the customers that you already had, because it's difficult to get more customers than to keep the ones that you already have, whether it's good times or it's bad times. All right. At the end of the day, customer behavior is what would then make you get more of them buying again and again from you, right? And if you get an understanding of why people buy and what we can do to ensure they keep coming back for more, you definitely have a business that's profitable and enjoyable. And I know sometimes it can feel like nobody wants to buy what you're selling. And when you actually rely on your business to pay rent or put food on the table, it puts an enormous strain on your emotions, first of all, and maybe your confidence in being able to provide for your family, and you start contemplating to return to maybe a 9 to 5 job with your tail tucked between your legs, if you can't bring in any clients. All right. So like I said, if you touch on health, if you touch on wealth, if you touch on relationships, and if you touch on making people's dreams come true and offer a bargain in the process, you would definitely be touching on the 4 aspects of why people actually buy. Okay. Now, it's rare for coaches and consultants and other businesses to truly understand the customer decision-making process. You know why? Because we're always caught up in how we are doing, how we're providing the service, and how much of that service we're selling to new people. And indeed, the majority of business owners would suggest that maybe price is the largest contributing factor to why people buy from one source instead of another. And then we start looking at what our competition is doing and start adjusting our prices just so that it fits into what the market is being exposed to at the moment. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth. Okay, while it's important to look at price, and it's not something you should underestimate, and indeed in certain industry, obviously some decision to make a purchase is relegated on price competitiveness. All right, it is actually a big determining factor. If you're gonna get the same from everybody else, price is the only thing that you're left to compare with. But there's usually far more to it than just simply price. Okay, what is it that customers actually value? All right. And just like anything else, there's studies that have been done, and it shows that there's 5 top issues that people actually look at when they're buying. First of all, it's convenience or ease of shopping. Does your website make it easy for people to buy? Do you make it easy for people to book a consultation with you? All of those things, if you're a coach or consultant, are you actually making it easy for people to buy your training, your information, your expertise, or to book you for any paid speaking gigs? And then pretty much after that, what's the relationship the people already have with you? We all know that people buy from those they know, like, and trust. What relationship have you created with your marketplace, especially the character that you're putting out there? Is it a character that people want to relate with? Is it a character that they want to see you win? Or is it a character that actually they can relate with because you're putting out value out there, because people get paid in direct proportion to the value that we're bringing to the marketplace. All right. And then there's also the product, price, time, obviously the specifications of what you're selling, the price of it, and the availability of the product. Is it a scarce commodity or things of that nature? And last but not least, is there a perceived indifference? All right, I'm going to touch on a little bit about this perceived indifference. The real one to watch out for is that perceived indifference. Okay, now I know and I can understand, as an entrepreneur, marketing is just one aspect of running a successful business. You're coming from hiring and managing new staff, balancing books, driving growth, and a whole lot more other things. And it feels like a constant balancing act where you are pulled in multiple different directions all at once. And at the end of the day, your real goal is just to help your clients. You want to spend as much time as possible, changing people's lives and solving their problems. You don't want to waste countless hours each week trying to navigate the complex world of online marketing. And that's where perceived indifference actually steps in. Okay. And you certainly don't want to spend yet another minute on the phone having to beg people to buy your services. Unfortunately, you don't have to. All right. We can all understand the importance of building relationships with our customers, because once you've had those customers come through, you obviously have to nurture them, and you obviously have to continuously wow them in such a way that they will pay, stay, and refer other work to us. And indeed, we are all probably culprits of convenience shopping. Everybody wants to get something that is cheaper, better, faster than anywhere else. Yet, with perceived indifference that I mentioned earlier on, it's often ignored by a lot of business owners. Okay, given that studies about buying behavior actually report customers as placing as much as 5 times more importance on perceived indifference than what they do on price, it's actually vital that you, as a coach, consultant, or small business owner, focus on this decision-making element. All right. So for you to grasp an understanding of what perceived indifference is, especially from the perspective of your customer, think about how often you feel about, some of the things that I'm about to mention before or while you're making a purchase. Okay. Number one, do you have a feeling that the business owner doesn't actually care about you or your individual needs, and it's just a numbers game, or they just wanted to put the sale across without even having to know who you are and understand your needs? All right. That's perceived indifference. When clients don't feel heard, or they don't feel like, their very situation is not being taken into consideration, they will walk away. All right. And, have you ever felt like the business owner acts as if they don't want your business? And in my experience, especially in the telecoms industry, where they just want you because you're paying a bill to them, and they never give you any new deals that come through. They only give those new deals to new customers. Right? Have you ever seen that? It's like once you're a customer of theirs, they don't care anymore. They don't even wow you with any new or add any new data to your plan or anything of that sort. Okay? Have you ever felt that a business that you've bought from, they're not prepared to differentiate themselves from the competition? They have a process that they want to follow, and they don't even want to deviate from it. And the people that are working within that business are not empowered to make a difference. Have you ever, tried to make a complaint, and then, you get the receiving end or the consultant saying, that's our process and we can't change it. No, even if it's common sense, you can just see that if they just took time to actually listen to what you're saying, they could actually retain you as a customer, but they wouldn't deviate from whatever process that they have, within their business. And have you ever gone through a process where the vendor is not prepared to fight for your business, or to work just a little bit harder to deliver the service that you want, and they're not flexible enough to just do a little bit more, just in case maybe you have a problem once with your cash flow, and you're just telling them, hey, just give me a couple of days, I'll sort this out, and they automatically cut you off or something of that nature, not wanting to wait just a couple more days just to hear you out, even though you've been a customer all your life, and they just cut you out like you are just a number in their CRM. All right. So all of these feelings are, unfortunately, they occur all too frequently when you're dealing with businesses. You want to make sure that none of this is happening to your customers, because once they have these perceived indifference, people will not buy again and again and again, no matter how many times people have been purchasing from you. A few touch points with them will actually make a difference. We've got over 56 clients that we deal with, and especially within our SEO front. And our SEO team deals with our customers, and sometimes I don't personally have to even know what's happening with the account, but I have to make sure that the customer realizes that I'm on top of everything, just in case they call or just in case they have an inquiry about their account. And once a month or once every 3 months, I personally email our customers just to find out if everything is okay and if the team is looking after them. And I always get a response back from them saying, "Oh wow, thank you so much. It really shows that you care." Small things like that. All right. Have you ever, if you have maybe team members, have you ever maybe sent an email or an inquiry or even used your chat on your website to see how people respond and how long it actually takes for the phone to be answered, by your staff members there? Yeah. Frequent examples of this just include maybe a blasé sales assistant who clearly can't be bothered to put themselves out, to help you. And, the phone rings for 50 minutes, and then it gets cut off. I remember, I don't know if you've watched the show The Office, when they were trying to sell paper. The Dunder Mifflin guys were trying to sell paper to a small company, and then their sales trick was they called one of the bigger box suppliers and they were put on hold, and they just kept going through the number tree or the phone tree, whereas Dwight and the other guy just called their office, and the receptionist answered the phone immediately. All right, so and that got the sale across, because nobody wants to wait on the phone and being told that their call is important, whereas nobody's actually realizing how important it is and picking it up within 2 or 3 rings. So before your strategy to boost more business, look at how you're actually serving your current clients, and think a little bit more creatively about delighting your clients no matter what. Okay, this will definitely boost your sales, because most businesses might go in and cut prices or offer more services or more data, like I mentioned earlier on, which will obviously eat into your profits, okay, just so you can make a sale. But let me tell you something, it actually just generates short-term benefits for the client, because the client is going to need service pretty much after that. All right, so at the end of the day, when problems start to occur, clients will forget all you did to offer them more value. They just want something that works. Okay, and whatever you're doing out there, make sure you're giving your customers a good deal. They don't hear about better services or better offers that are being offered to newer clients. No matter what you're going to be doing, this is how people now have that perceived indifference and feel like, they are not being well looked after. So how do you then go past this perceived indifference and make people buy more and more and more? Clearly, the key to actually overcoming the problem of perceived indifference is making the customer feel that they're important to you. No matter what you're going to do out there, make sure that if you say that their call is important, it is answered at least within 2 or 3 or 4 rings at the most. Okay? Because if a customer thinks that you want and value their business, they're much more likely to maybe make that initial purchase, and then they would actually make repeat purchases and literally share the positive word out there to others. All right, that's how you create customers that pay, stay, and refer. And especially when there's economic downturns, or especially when there's pandemics or lockdowns or whatever it is, you will be guaranteed that your customers are not going to go away, because they know they are appreciated and they're loved. Okay, so think about whether or not you want to instill these measures within your business and ensure that your customers don't actually feel that powerful punch of perceived indifference. And be sure to implement a few simple measures that would actually show your customers that you're attentive, that you're eager, and importantly, that you actually value their business. Because the more they feel valued, the more they're gonna give you more of it. All right, so here's a quick anti-perceived indifference checklist that you can have within your business. First of all, do you answer your phone on the second ring every time? You want to make sure that your customers don't feel like they have to wait to speak to somebody else. And if you have an on hold message, do people have to listen to that at all? And does it provide useful information that will help them make sense of the world around them instead of you just selling to them? Okay. And do you actually thank your customers or potential customers for calling, or do you just take whatever complaints they have as if they're wasting your time? Because it's within complaints that you can actually make a better service out there. And do you actually thank your customers for visiting your business or your website? Things of that nature. They could go elsewhere where they're loved, right? Do you actually thank your customers for buying from you? And do you or your team always maybe arrive to meetings on time and don't make people wait in your Zoom room while you're getting ready? All right. And at the end of the day, it's not just in times of economic difficulty that businesses should maybe focus on upping your sales levels. It should be the ethos behind a well-run business. If you want a business that's profitable and enjoyable, you have to make sure that the customer is well looked after and they don't feel like you've got perceived indifference based on the way they feel you are serving them. So stamp out this perceived indifference and make an effort to communicate openly and regularly with your customers. And if you've got a team, get them involved and run brainstorming sessions so you can pull together some ideas on how you can actually ensure you get rid of your of this perceived indifference in order for you to actually grow your business. And this can be done within 90 days if you really want a business that's profitable and enjoyable. So yeah, if this have struck a chord with you, make sure you go in and look at exactly how you're treating these customers, because once people are treated well, they will pay, stay, and refer. And if you do it consistently, definitely you will start creating or generating hundreds of qualified leads or high ticket leads like clockwork. You know why? Because these people will continuously buy from you, and you never have to rely on cold calling or emailing just to beg clients to hire you once again. And above all, you get really good testimonials, and people will definitely use those as social proof to buy more from you. I can't wait to see you succeed, and I can't wait to see you delivering outstanding results for your clients and win their loyalty for life. Because once clients are happy, they will sing your praises to their family, their friends, colleagues at barbecues, and even strangers on the bus, anyone who can listen. I can't wait to see you attracting your dream clients on repeat if you start using these step-by-step digital marketing strategies. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au